Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper left hand corner we got Semih, having a bit of a bad split. Starting as the blue Protoss. Upper right hand corner we got Herbmon starting as the green Zerg. I am particular, and this is the opening round of Starcon 2024, and this is a really marquee matchup to be hitting in the first round between these two gentlemen. They've been on Retro, they've been practicing against each other quite a bit here and there, hitting each other on ladder and whatnot. And they're two guys that are, I mentioned it previous, they're ascending the ladder, they're getting very, very strong. Semih had an amazing run at the Chatland tournament. Herbmon's one of those guys who performed really, really well at the previous, I don't know that he went to the Chatland tournament, he performed very well at the previous Starcon tournament, and both of these guys are guys that are starting to peak their way up towards the upper echelon of players. And I would not be shocked in another year and a half or so, maybe even sooner than that, if they hit that point. It's just kind of getting in that time, grinding and making it happen. And we'll see if it might end up happening sooner because of some other advent specifically. Oh, this is unfortunate for Semih. Semih went through the north looking for the Overlord, but was a little bit early on the scout. He's going to continue scouting, it looks like. So it's not going to cost him, but is going to get first scout, which is actually huge in this matchup. In the meantime, Herbmon opening up with an overpool just to play it safe. And did Semih miss it? Did he miss the... No, he went in and saw. It looks like he's going to back off now, though, with this probe. I can't... This would definitely be tournament nerves if he, in fact, missed that scout. In the meantime, he's got a forge dropped out on the front. Against that, he's not able to confirm the build, however. And we got another drone making its way out. And yeah, we have double... This is unfortunate. So this is like early game tournament nerves right here and trying to work things out, because it looks like Semih got to the corner here, thought he was on the edge where he would see the creep, and just in fact missed it. So now he's going to have to double back and go top right, and the Overlord instead is going to be able to sneak forward. And is this is going to be forge into expansion. It looks like we're seeing a hatchery after this, but with the timing of this, the initial two Zerglings might be able to sneak into the main, depending. So Herbmon spots it, is adjusting. Yeah, Semih's making his way back, and that's unfortunate because he's going to lose a lot of mining time as a result of that. He's going to lose this probe's worth of mining time. He is going to miss a lot of harassment that could have happened with this probe, but yeah, that's just early game tournament nerves, I think, right there. But hopefully that adjusts as he goes. In the meantime, Photon Cannon warping in. We'll see if probe's... Yeah, okay, the probe able to at least recognize it's only two Zerglings to start, and also able to migrate up and check that extractor timing. The extractor timing a little bit later does open up the, which doesn't necessarily mean we're going up against 973 here, but at least he knows he's not going for as fast a Mutalisk play as possible. 3 drones out in there. We already have that third hatchery planted at the 3 o'clock location. We'll see if the probe can make that way and confirm. We got a cannon into gateway, so economic play both directions. Gas getting grab pylon as well. A little bit rarer to see the Forge Opener these days. And I think the Forge Opener is kind of a signal from somebody that he wants to play just a longer term economic style play versus Herbmon, which honestly I feel like plays a little bit into Herbmon's hands. Herbmon's macro and being able to manage front door containment versus Protoss these days is very, very strong. Layer about 2/3 finish, and I think that, or 1/3 finish. I think this is going to be... We'll see if this turns into a 973. It's possible that this is just going to be, we could see a Hydralisk turnaround, but I have a feeling this is going to be a 4-hatch Spire, or 3-hatch Spire into 4th hatch, and a little bit more defensive play here to start. And then initial Mutalisks. Overlord moving its way in to go ahead and check out the tech. Cybernetics core is in fact warping in, and Semih is going to go ahead and drop that Stargate. He's going to have that Stargate out well before that Spire is ready and finished. And again, that's kind of the gas timing there on Herbmon a little bit later than usual. So might be able to get an Overlord. Certainly going to be able to get the front Overlord. And it's kind of an interesting thing with Protoss. It's like, what Overlord do you go after? Do you go all... So usually you go all the way to the main to kind of scout things out. So there's the Spire starting up right this second. Stargate about halfway finished. So first of all, you want to go and you want to scout. And then it's kind of the timing thing of like, okay, what do you do with your time management in between before the initial Scourger out that you have to deal with? And it can, honestly, I feel like it's one of those things that's, it can divide really strong Protoss knowing where they are in the Spire versus Corsair timing versus not. It's kind of one of those things I wish I was like a lot more skilled at. But in the meantime, Spire about halfway finished. Both these guys starting out macro-wise. I'm waiting to see if we just see straight third hatchery or if we're going to see a migration to 6. In the meantime, Herbmon saturating quite a bit. He's already surging on the drones, putting a third hatchery. So usually you'll see this fourth hatchery as a Sim City near the front at the natural expansion, instead dropping it at the third, where he's already got, there are 2 ramps here, so that might be the reasoning behind it. We'll have to see as things progress. You have a handful of Zealots already out, the first Corsair out, well before that Spire's finished. A handful of Zerglings making the way to the 12 o'clock location. Plenty of Zealots to handle this. +1 weapons about halfway finished. We do have a Citadel of Adun and Zealot leg speed, by the way, behind us. So there's the Spire finishing, and now it's kind of that timing window. He's going to go after, and it looks like Herbmon right on top of this. This is going to be close. The Scourge are going to spawn very, very rapidly. Right on top, and it looks like, yeah, Semih not going to risk it, is in fact going to back out. And it looks like that Overlord that was at the 12, right outside the natural expansion, instead has exited along that 9 o'clock. Can't talk all of a sudden. And as a result, Herbmon is going to be able to negate any sort of Overlord loss right this second. And he's sitting right around and was able to do a quick surge in supply, grabbing his second gas, and is a pretty firm situation. He's got really nice saturation across 3 bases. He's well SimCity'd up already here at the 3 o'clock, dropping an Evolution going for +1 weapons, so definitely going to transition back to, 5-hatch Hydralisk in the space of this. He's already got the Hydra Speed online. Semih looking for that +1 Zealot leg speed move out. And able to, this is kind of clever though, I think he might have caught Herbmon with his pants down, because one Zealot sneaking out to the north. The Zerglings checking. They're going to go ahead and try to chase this Zealot down, but in the meantime, the rest have exited towards the 3 o'clock location. There is a Sunken Colony and several Hydralisks here, so I don't think Herbmon's going to be all that concerned. +1 weapons just about finished. This Zealot drawing a lot of those Zerglings off, and now, yeah, Zergling speed less of an advantage here as the Zealot speed kicks in as well. Semih moving in. Let's see if he overcommits with these Zealots. So he's going to go ahead and careen in. Very quickly surrounding the Sunkens, and the Hydralisks aren't attacking. They missed an entire attack cycle right there, and that's going to make this a lot softer as far as the defense. So still a nice defense by Herbmon. Ends up losing the Sunken Colony. That could have gone a lot worse. The Hydralisks were just sitting there for a minute. But that wasn't as strong as a defense as it could have been. So Semih loses a few Zealots, interrupts a little bit of mining time, but Herbmon and at least gets a degree of map control. In the meantime, Scourge staying active, keeping an eye on where those Zealots are on the map, +1 armor queued up. We've got the 4th gateway coming online. Defensive pylon, or a defensive cannon in the main just in case there's the gateway flood. I'm actually wondering if Semih could sneak in this situation. He's got the High Templar, he's got Psystorm coming. A Dark Templar making its way out. Right now, with everything as it were, I'm almost wondering if Semih could have snuck the expansion with a lower gateway count right this second with the Zealots that he's got out in the field. It's one of those things that's really, really hard to tell as Protoss in this situation, but he does have a sizable supply lead. The Zealots probably could have swatted down any sort of Hydralisk force that's pushing out, but what this is doing now is it's giving Herbmon an opportunity to go ahead and continue to drone cycle and get some additional hatcheries down. And the Zealots are just kind of wandering out in the meantime. It looks like the Scourge are checking around that 12 o'clock. We did have a Dark Templar wandering between. The Scourge just sitting out the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock for that exact possibility. Not that I don't know that Herbmon would be able to rapidly respond to that. He's going ahead and getting Overlord speed in the meantime. So basically just getting all his pieces on the map. We have Maelstrom upgrading, by the way, in the background, just in case there was a... basically anticipating a Hydralisk swap. And I'm guessing that Herbmon must have done that in the recent future to kind of put Semih on alert for that reason. We have the Protoss robotics facility here in the background to go ahead and get that observers out before. So basically, both players, I'm going to say Semih playing it very, very safe against Herbmon is kind of like a nod of respect, I think. But as a result, playing slightly into Herbmon's favor, because Herbmon now can he's got Lurker Tech about 2/3 finished. He can basically just start accelerating and just start pouring the troops out. And he's not that far behind the supply count. He's got a very, very healthy drone count. His economy has been basically untouched at this stage. A couple Corsair trying to be frustrating by wandering into the main and distracting some units back. I don't think there are going to be a lot of Hydralisks pulling back and biting on that. as of yet. In fact, yeah, we've got a handful of Scourge. Going to go ahead and push this back. And what we have got a control group of Zealots meandering out in the field, and very shortly, with this group of Hydralisks bunched here at the 3 o'clock, it's going to be hard for Semih to maintain map control, and you can actually see that supply gap kind of bouncing back and forth between the two of them. We got a good amount of Dragoons out. This is going to turn into a very interesting... I think we're going to have one large battle, either at the 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock location, or sorry, at the 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock location, and that could be the map decider here. Semih's starting to make his way out. Herbmon already on top of it, and already, yeah, blockading it out here at the 12 o'clock. We saw Crossy do something similar to Jaeyoon and take the map as a result, and this is honestly looking just about identical to that play. So Psystorm over the wall. In fact, if it didn't have these names right here like this, I would think, oh, this is that game. And Herbmon's so confident, he's going ahead and grabbing that 12 o'clock base, canceling that Lurker Egg and making his way back out. The Maelstrom will definitely help land some Psystorm, but Semih has to be very, very careful here as he's on approach. And this is crazy from Herbmon. Not only is he saying, like, okay, I'm going to deny you this space, making the statement, I'm going to take it as well. And we've got a handful of Psystorm that took out, what, 3 Hydralisks? But a lot of Dragoons getting peeled back to the north. And look at this! Semih's response. He's going to try to offensive cannon, potentially. And that was a lot of Psystorm for, well, a few Hydralisks, but honestly not enough. One problem for Herbmon, though, is he's missed some macro cycles in the space of this, but with the Defender... Oh, and picked off the Observer. That's huge. With the Defender's advantage, it's going to be a big problem for Semih. And look at these Lurkers spread out as well. So now the Archon leading. It gets popped. Hydra's mostly able to dodge the Psystorm behind, and yeah, Semih hits a wall. And this is where he needs to fold back, and he's invested a lot into this army. So now he either needs to fold back and grab that 9 o'clock location, but it's kind of one of those situations where it's devastating. Herbmon's playing this perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Army repositioning mid-map. We do have Azalt as wandering bottom right. Now Semih repositioning, maybe wanting to peel back and assault the 3 o'clock location. Okay, now drawing back to the 9 o'clock. Thinking better of it. But Herbmon, as far as like steps into the late game, is just about to hit +2 weapons on his Hydralisk, at which stage he can start thinking about Hive Tech. And he's done a very, very good job in matches like this, doing the transition. I feel like that was a struggle previously in his game, and I think that's something he's definitely improved between the previous Starcon and this Starcon. The transition between mid-game and late game here. So a lot of Lurkers already in the way. Semih bringing that army to bear. Going to be able to catch an Overlord or 2 as they're making their way to the north. Looks like 8 Overlord, but honestly, not a lot of victories here. 20 supply lead, but this is a wall of Lurkers and Hydralisks. An Observer finally making its way forward. A single Observer. I don't know that APL range, is that the Observer sight range. A decent Psystorm, a nice dodge there from Herbmon, although he walked back into it. And Semih just holding here, hoping to get some good storms, and instead he's lost a lot of Dragoons here on the front. It looks like Herbmon is donating a few Hydralisks here and there, but these are now +2 Hydralisks out in the field. It's only +1 weapons, +1 armor. I missed a drop behind here. I didn't even realize that drop was upgraded, and it looks like he's able to empty that natural expansion, so a counterattack. That's going to draw Semih all the way back. So Herbmon, with a nice turnaround maneuver, is happy to cut. And this is the thing, this is not a lot of Hydralisks to sacrifice to that Storm. Storm provides a lot of map control to Protoss. Semih looks like he was able to maintain a good amount of probes in the midst of that, but this is where he wanted to be surging towards a higher probe count, or more like the 60 probe count, and Herbmon's actually got more workers than he does right this second, which is very, very dangerous territory. Although the Hydralisks have been emptied from the 12 o'clock, a lot of Lurkers here. Semih now storming in. Are the Hydralisks a little bit late to respond to recover that territory to the 12 o'clock, so this is now a big turnaround win for Semih. Still, I don't think, and he's actually going to have getting some nice, this is the engagement he needed, getting that turnaround Psystorm. Herbmon just needs to let that territory go, get those Overlords out of there as best he can. Looks like he's peeling off some troops and looking for another drop here now at the 9 o'clock. And these Overlords are going to go for a fake threat, potentially. A bunch of cannons dropping. There's only a single cannon to defend, and this is a critical base for Semih to hold. As soon as he loses this, that will probably be game. So now trying to flood back out And as long as there's focus fire on this Nexus, that's going to be a dead Nexus. Yeah, a few troops just wandering in. They're also wandering in piecemeal. That Nexus is plummeting. We also got a secondary drop from Herbmon in the main. Looks like, and that's taxing Semih even further, so he's having to draw troops in. We do have a Dark Templar in the midst of it to help clean it up, and there wasn't a lot. This is a bit of a null drop. Not a lot to catch, but by wiping out that 9 o'clock, that puts Semih in a situation where he's nearly mined out at the main. Nearly mined out at the main. He's very thin at his natural expansion. Herbmon is still humming. Ooh, some beautiful side storms here at the 12 o'clock. He's retaking the 12 o'clock to keep that out of Semih's hands. And Herbmon also grabbing bottom right to keep his economy rolling. He's way up on workers. He's even on supply, which is almost always a death knell for Protoss. Not always, but in most circumstances. And the lurkers are just sitting here without an observer. Nice last-second morph as well. Finally, the observers making their way in, but these zealots eating a lot of free damage in the meantime. Finally, a Psy Storm. Semih might be able to recover here if he just piles in and just absolutely hopes at the 12 o'clock location that he can somehow get that up and running. Bottom right is going to already be sailing for Herbmon, though. But maybe his better option here is just to take what he's got and go for an attack. Unfortunately, he's looking at even supply. And it looks like he does have a slight upgrade advantage. But not a lot of Psy... Well, okay, never mind. I take that back. Some Psy Storm. He's got to have some really nice Psy Storms. Psy Storm here, Psy Storm here, Psy Storm here. Could really make it happen. So there's a Psy Storm on the forward lurkers. There's the second Psy Storm. There's that other Psy Storm I was talking about. And with that, actually, we'll see if Semih can turn around and win it. That was gorgeous. It's like he was mind reading me right there as far as the perfect areas to target. Alright, a bit of an empty Psy Storm there to follow, but Semih able to get some damage done. Might be able to... Pressing into the natural expansion, or Herbmon having some trouble. He's distance mining here at the 12 o'clock to show how desperate his situation is. But Herbmon now finally able to get enough just raw meat to push this back, and that should seal the victory for him, because now he can just storm into that 12 o'clock, clear out the zealots, wipe out the probes, and he's already happily mining here bottom right. Hasn't made his way towards Hive though, so he's just sticking, and he's just been sticking on there. This is something a lot of Zerg sometimes have trouble with. Not that he needs to at this stage, because he's got Semih's mined out at the main. He's just about mined out of the natural. But looks like he's going to load. I heard some Overlord loading up someplace, so look for that drop. A handful of Zealots have managed to sneak out. They're not going to get anything done bottom right. We have enough lurkers and no observers with this to get anything done at the 3 o'clock. So I'm waiting for the drop location. It looks like a couple Archons and whatnot there holding. Ooh, yeah, so Semih making his way through. The Zealots just going to the Lurker's just going to reposition to absorb the Zealots. Nice job not getting themselves killed. These Overlords making their way out to go for a Doom drop on the main. Semih unfortunately cannot defend his main and the 12 o'clock with his current troop count. And he just donated a lot of Zealots bottom right. He is going to be able to stop a drone that might have been taking that natural expansion. And you can just see as far as the bank and the supply count, the difference here. Semih doing a good job at least distance mining. So the 12 o'clock is now online. Getting a few additional Archons morphed, but this is also going to be a two-pronged attack where we have some units storming into the 12 o'clock and Herbmon now dropping on absolutely everything, potentially the main gateway lines right here at the main. So going to be able to quickly wipe out that cannon, working on pylons, and just, yeah, and that's going to cause Semih to go for a full-on counterattack, recognizing he's not going to be able to recover. Maelstrom catching only a single Hydralisk right there. What a wonderful sound, though. That is right there. Able to kill a few workers right here, but there's another batch of Hydralisks behind this, so Semih recognizing he wasn't going to be able to get the counterattack done. A few Dragoons making the way in. But now it's just kind of a move and focus on buildings for Herbmon, so GG right there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.